What up guys, coming at you with another AMA. This is the 10th AMA. Super stoked on how these have been going. As always, leave your comments below and I will get to your questions. Brought to you by Santa Cruz Paleo. We're gonna restock these electrolytes very soon. We're also gonna release the mango flavor. Really excited about that. Some things we're working on that'll probably be released in the next month or two are a grass-fed, grass-finished whey. These are gonna be from Irish grass-fed, grass-finished A2 cows. Whey isolate, amazing stuff. I'm really happy with this. We're gonna go with chocolate and vanilla, absolutely delicious. And the electrolytes are selling extremely well. So if you see them in stock on Amazon, get them because they will sell out soon. And we also just restocked the horchata and chocolate grass-fed, grass-finished beef isolate protein. So go check out some of our stuff on Amazon or go to santacruzpaleo.com and yeah, get something. Let's get into the AMA. Let's get to these questions. What do you got? This question is, Brendan, why is magnesium stearate a bad option? Magnesium stearate is not a bioavailable form of magnesium and it actually causes issues in many people. It's not something that really will boost your levels of magnesium in any significant way and it has a lot of drawbacks. Why is this in so many supplements? You'll see this as an ingredient in a lot of supplements. You'll see magnesium stearate. It's used to make the machines run better. When you have a bunch of powder in machines, it can oftentimes sort of gunk them up and magnesium stearate's a really good flow agent. It's not good for you. We don't use it in our formulas because I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather run smaller batches and not put something in there that's gonna harm me. I think it's dumb. So look at your supplements, see if there's magnesium stearate in them. It's not the end of the world. Don't throw out your supplements, but you might wanna switch to a brand that doesn't have magnesium stearate. The next question is, Brendan, what is Red 40? What is Blue 1? What is Yellow 5? These are petroleum-based artificial food dyes. So they use petroleum to make these in the manufacturing process, and it's a pretty crazy process in how they make them. I'm not gonna get into deep detail on how they make them, but it's involving heavy machinery, a lot of petrochemicals, and they make these food dyes, which are then added to different foods, different drinks, and you consume them. We do not know the long-term effects of these. It doesn't appear that it's heading in the right direction based on the studies showing that they can maybe exacerbate symptoms of ADHD or some cognitive decline. Not a fan of Red 40, not a fan of Blue 1. I wouldn't use those whatsoever. The next question is, Brendan, I like chips. What brand of chips are healthy for me? So there are some options in terms of chips. There is a company called Boulder Canyon, and they make an avocado oil and olive oil potato chip. I think that's a totally decent option. And then there's also a brand called Siete. They use cassava flour, which is gonna be way more gut friendly for a lot of people, and they use avocado oil as well, so that's a pretty good option. The other option that I have seen, I've used many times, is Bar Nana. They make a plantain chip with plantains roasted in coconut oil. That's the only ingredients. They do have some ones where they add some weird ingredients in some of their flavored ones, but whatever, just like the basic ones are good. So there are 3 brands of chips right there that I think are totally good options. This question is, Brendan, are Nature Valley granola bars healthy? Is this a good option for me? I'm gonna go with absolutely not. This is basically sweetened oats is what's in there, and there's a lot of sugar in there. It's not a good idea. As far as oats go, I don't think they're really like a great health food in my personal opinion, but I'm not somebody who's so anti-oats that I'd be like, oh, if you love them, eliminate them. If you like oats, that's fine. But when you take oats and then you add a bunch of corn syrup to them and other sweetening, I think they use brown rice syrup, but it's still just processed sugar, guys, at the end of the day. It's not a good idea. Not a fan of those. And they're dry as hell. The next question is, Brendan, do smoothies have too much sugar? Are they a good option or a bad option? Well, this is gonna depend. When you look at stuff like Jamba Juice and a lot of these smoothie chains, you have really horrible ingredients in there and they're just not a good idea. I also really wouldn't be drinking just a basic all fruit smoothie often. You don't really wanna overload your body with that much fructose. If you're an athlete, you can probably afford to, eat a decent amount of fruit sugar and you can do like a fruit smoothie. I'm not saying that it's something I'll never have or whatever, but in a traditional smoothie, you're just getting a lot of fruit and oftentimes you're getting processed sugar in there. Now, if you make one at your house, what I would do is throw in some fruits and throw in a scoop of protein powder. That's gonna really bolster the nutritional impact of a smoothie and it's gonna make it into something way better. Next question is, Brendan, what do you think of those cooking sprays like Pam and stuff? This guy says he's going on a weight loss diet and he wants to cut out calories from like butter and olive oil, stuff like that. So first of all, yeah, it's true that fat has, more calories per gram than other foods. I don't think you need to eliminate olive oil and butter. If you're counting your calories properly, you'll be able to hit a calorie deficit while still using those foods sparingly. The cooking sprays and stuff, I would definitely go towards like an avocado oil. I would not be using a canola oil cooking spray and thinking that's gonna help you in any way, shape, or form. When we really look into what causes weight loss, number one, yes, you have a calorie deficit, but longer term, you wanna have good mitochondrial health and good brain health and good immune health overall to just keep the ball rolling in the right direction in terms of your energy, your workouts, all that. I would not be taking a PAM canola oil spray and using that. It's a bad idea. The next question is, Brendan, what about dog food? What are you feeding your dogs? What is a good option to feed them? So let's be realistic here. Well, first we'll get non-realistic. The best diet for a dog is probably, you might have seen it on TikTok and you can look at the hashtag or YouTube, you know, like raw dog food. People that are feeding their dogs raw food, like they're getting actual like animal carcasses, they're getting raw beef, sometimes they're getting like, you know, a chicken leg and like an egg yolk and like, you know, actual meat. That's probably the best thing to do. Now, that's not realistic for people. That's insanely expensive. Like, that's a lot of money. People don't have that type of money. I don't have that type of money to feed my dog, you know, raw chicken legs every day and stuff. So here's what I'd recommend. Personally, I think a good grain-free dog food with high-quality ingredients is the way to go. I'm not against, you know, if your vet told you to add some grain to your dog's diet, whatever. Get a good dry dog food where you can read the ingredients and understand that it has like good stuff in there. Maybe that's lamb, maybe that's beef, maybe that's wild salmon, whatever that is. You're gonna give that to your dogs and you're gonna spruce that meal up with egg yolks. Huge fan of egg yolks. You can do a full raw egg. I just wouldn't do raw egg white long-term because it can deplete biotin. But yeah, egg yolks on there. You can get some sardines, put some sardines on there, a scoop of like our beef tallow. That's what I do for the dogs. They absolutely love it. We have an omega-3 supplement if you Google Santa Cruz dog tincture, and in there's wild Alaskan salmon oil and CBD. They absolutely love that as well. You put some of that on top of their dry food. That's also a really good option. That's what I'd recommend. Now, I do have one dog that's very little. He gets like sardines, he gets grass-fed beef, but he only eats a little bit. So yeah, that's what I recommend. Dry food, spruce it up with real food on top. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on Old Spice? So Old Spice, I would probably give like a D- in terms of, you know, its health effects. You're talking, it has propylene glycol in there, you have blue one, you have artificial fragrance. That is not something I would ever want to use long-term, especially when there's so many good natural options out there. I would not use Old Spice products at all. They're just really bad. The ingredient list is bad. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think of the 80-20 rule? Eating 80% healthy, 20% unhealthy. So I'm assuming this means you're eating a pretty healthy diet, then you like to have some cheat meals. What I would say with the 80-20 rule is if you feel good and you genuinely think you're doing the 80-20 rule, I think that's fine. You know, I'm not like here to, you know, dissuade you from eating your cheat meals if it makes you feel good. But here's what we have going on. If you are doing those cheat meals with stuff like McDonald's, stuff like Jack in the Box, Taco Bell, or I don't know what, you know, if you're eating some crazy stuff, the preservatives in there, the new additives can have effects that we don't really understand yet. They can have effects on your hormones, your immune function, your gut function, all that. If you're gonna do cheat meals, I'd recommend making something at home, like a homemade pizza, or like going out to like a real restaurant that uses real ingredients. And if you're just loading up on like wheat and actual like sugar and stuff like that, it's still not gonna be good, not something that I would do, but it's gonna be way different than loading up on some experimental new food additives that, you know, the McDonald's Corporation or Jack in the Box or someone has basically invented and is experimenting on you. Don't think that's a good idea at all. The other thing with this 80-20 rule is, why? I truly don't get it. Like when people are like, well, I need to have a cheat meal every Sunday. I don't feel good after I eat like shit. I want to feel good all the time. The meals I make are absolutely delicious. So I don't really see some type of issue where I'm like, I need to eat 20% of my calories through bad foods. Not a fan of that whatsoever, personally. If you like doing that and you feel good, I think it's fine. The next question is, Brendan, what is an ideal workout at home to build abs? So first of all, you need to stop thinking that there is some magical workout that's gonna give you abs. What makes your abs show is a lack of body fat. So when your body fat percentage gets below a certain amount, it's gonna be slightly different for every person, your abs will show. That is why people's abs are showing, okay? Now you can build your abdominal muscles, but you're not going to be able to do crunches to get abs. You have to have your body fat at a certain percentage. What I do recommend for abs is an exercise called the reverse sit-up. When we really look at the ab musculature, it's not going to be really built with crunches. It's actually what the abs are doing is they're basically helping bring your pelvis up. So you really need to get your knees up. You can do leg lifts as like another type of exercise, but look up reverse crunch. That's a really good exercise. That's pretty much one of the only exercises I do for my abs, reverse crunch and then leg lifts. like really getting your pelvis off the ground, your lower back off the ground. That's what the abs do, and that's how you're gonna build nice abs. The next question is, Brendan, what would you recommend for breakfast? I'm gonna give you 3 ideas right now that I've been doing that I just absolutely love. So one is eggs. It's so simple. There's so many ways to do this. You crack some eggs into a bowl, you whisk them up, you add in, you know, some onion, a little tomato, whatever, you make an omelet right there. Or you do some sunny side up eggs. Eggs are great. The next option is a little out there. I want to throw you one that's a little out there, but it is beef and blueberries. Grass-fed ground beef and blueberries. A little bit of honey on top. I know it sounds weird. Try it out. If you've tried it, comment below. But like, it's so good. You take grass-fed ground beef, you cook it up. When it's done, like, you turn off the heat, you add the blueberries in there to warm them up a little bit. You put that into a bowl, you put a little bit of honey on top. Oh my God, it's delicious. And if you've tried it, just let me know. But whatever, it sounds weird, I get it. The other option is gonna be a protein shake. I commonly do this. Wake up in the morning, Santa Cruz Paleo protein shake, chocolate or chata or all natural, throw a banana in there, throw an egg yolk in there. Really nutritious, really quick and easy. And when I do a double scoop, there's gonna be 40 grams of protein in there. You know, some fat from the egg yolk, some carbohydrates from the banana. Just delicious. The next question is, Brendan, do you ever use sunscreen? The answer is yes, I actually will sometimes use sunscreen. Now, it is pretty rare. This is just because, you know, my mom was born in India, so I have slightly like darker skin. I'm not as sensitive to the sun. Now, I do use sunscreen, especially if I go surf, and I'm going to Mexico to go surf soon, and it's a very, you know, warm area. What I do is I have this beef tallow combined with non-nano zinc sunscreen. And what that is just like any other mineral-based sunscreen, it's non-nano zinc oxide, which you can find in any mineral-based sunscreen. And typically I'll just apply it to my ears, to my neck, maybe to some, you know, the back of my legs that get a lot of sun when I'm surfing. But what I prefer to do, and I do all the time, you'll see videos of me surfing with a t-shirt on, because that's SPF right there. I'll throw on a hat, that's SPF. You do want to protect yourself from getting burnt, but you should also understand that you can do other things than just lather yourself with sunscreen. The next question is, Brendan, are you concerned about raw eggs and salmonella? I'm assuming is what he's talking about. He wants to add raw eggs to his protein shake. No, I don't have any concern with raw eggs. When you really look at salmonella, what it is actually on the outside of the egg. It's not something inside the egg, it's on the outside. If you're getting your eggs from a good source, I have never gotten salmonella from raw eggs. I don't worry about it at all. Look into it. Not saying it's all a conspiracy. I'm sure it happens sometimes, but eat your raw eggs, you're gonna be fine. The next question is basically, Brendan, what is your split? You know, you lift weights, you do jiu-jitsu, all that type of stuff. Like, what is your rest schedule? How do you structure this? So I do it very intuitively. I don't have set days where I rest, but I do it intuitively. Typically, I'm lifting 3 to 4 days out of the week, and I'm going to jiu-jitsu about 2 days out of the week, and another one of those days I like to get some cardio in, either doing some type of sport with my friends or something like that, maybe some basketball, maybe some, you know, mountain biking, maybe I'm just getting on the assault bike, and that is sort of how I structure my workout. That might mean I'm doing a lot, you know, back to back to back, and then I take a rest day. I typically try to have 2 rest days per week. I feel better doing this high intensity lifting when I get more rest and I'm able to really get after it in the gym. I have gone through periods where I've, you know, basically worked out all 7 days out of the week. Nothing like crazy hard, like I'll have like easier days, but I feel like it's almost better to just do corrective exercise and walk and do some basic stuff one day, call it a rest day, and then get back after it hard the next day in the gym. The next question is, Brendan, what is your opinion on Olipop soda? So this is like a sort of botanical drink that's gonna throw in some plant fiber and other things, and, you know, usually sweetened with stevia. I'm a fan of Olipop, I'd say. Like, I think it's a good idea, especially if it's getting a lot of people to quit soda. Now, it's not something that I drink or I would want to drink every day, but like if someone handed me one and wanted me to drink it, I'd be totally fine with it. Like, the ingredient roster seems pretty good. I think they're putting a big marketing effort behind, like, this can help people lose weight, maybe because of the fiber that they're putting in there. I don't know how much merit there really is to that, but if it's helping getting you off soda or even diet soda, big fan. The next question is, Brendan, what are some natural ways that you can lower anxiety? So the first thing you're gonna wanna look at is your sleep and your cortisol levels. So if you aren't getting good sleep, we know that you're way more prone to anxiety. It's pretty insane how the statistics on that. You are so much more prone to anxiety with a bad night's sleep. It's insane. If you're getting bad night's sleep after bad night's sleep, even if just a little bit, like 20% worse sleep than, you know, perfect sleep, you're gonna be way more prone to anxiety. So there's that. And then we get into cortisol levels. Cortisol is there to protect us. It is a stress hormone. It should be high in the morning. It should be high before you work out, before you play sports, but a lot of people just have chronically high cortisol. So ashwagandha is a pretty cool supplement that can potentially help lower cortisol. That's very interesting to me in terms of anxiety. And the other thing that we want to look at with anxiety in particular is overall brain health. So things like alpha GPC, things like choline, things like nutritional status, things like ingesting healthy fats can all help with your brain health. And these things can lead to just better cognitive states overall. But really, sleep and cortisol levels are the first things you want to look at. I would definitely highly recommend doing some meditation, learning how to control your breathing, because you can actually facilitate a lower heartbeat and lower heart rate just by doing some breathing exercises, by lengthening your exhale. So you can try that right now. If you're watching this video, you can inhale and just do big exhale. And if you do 12 of those, you might start to feel a little bit better. But anxiety is a deep thing. If you're having really bad anxiety, you should probably go talk to somebody. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on fish oil supplements, omega-3 supplements? So I'm not really for or against fish oil. Here's why. Omega-3s are great, and omega-3 fatty acids can help with a myriad of things. And we've seen all the studies, we've seen all the headlines on omega-3s, but a lot of the fish oil supplements that you'll actually see on the shelves are oxidized. What does that mean? They've been sitting on those shelves for so long, oftentimes in clear containers in the heat, and that fish oil basically turns rancid. It's really tough to find a good fish oil brand that's pure. I haven't really found one yet. How you can tell if your fish oil is rancid is if you crack one of those open and it reeks of fish. It's obviously going to smell a little bit like fish, but if it's like a bad fish smell, it's probably oxidized and rancid. There's a lot of rancid fish oil out there. I prefer to just get my omega-3s by including sardines, wild salmon, wild cod into my diet. The next question is, Brendan, how do I convince my parents to let me get your protein powder? Well, I'm about to do an episode all about creatine and protein powder. You might want to show them that. The next question is, Brendan, I have some of your beef tallow, but I don't use it that often. Will it go bad? So our beef tallow is pretty damn resistant to going bad. It's just an animal fat. It's going to last for a really long time, especially as it comes in an amber glass jar. So if you store it properly, it's probably going to last a really long time. But you don't want to get any water in there. That's something that can, make fats like go bad if you get water in there. So just be careful with that. But it's going to last a pretty long time. The next question is, Brendan, where do you find these research papers online? You'll see a lot of them pop up in my content. PubMed is going to be your best bet to find them. There's also, Nature is a cool one. These are basically academic journals which basically put a lot of these research papers and articles up. Those are two good sources. As far as how do you find them and how do you interpret them, that is sort of difficult. I think that is where school comes into play. And when I studied medical anthropology at UC Santa Cruz, you do take a couple courses on how to read these papers and break them down. So yeah. The next question is, Brendan, what is your opinion on applesauce? Is it worth eating at all, or should I just stick to eating the apple fruit? So a whole apple fruit's going to be a bit better because the fiber content is going to be a bit more, and it's probably going to be a bit fresher, but I'm not against applesauce at all. I think it's a really good option on the go, and you're going to get a lot of those same benefits that you would get from eating an apple. Apples are great, rich in boron, rich in vitamin C, rich in different polyphenols and flavonoids that help you. So yeah, big fan of them. The next question is, Brendan, is oat milk or almond milk good for you? So the reason I'm not a big fan of these is typically just the brands that we see out there. It's not just oats or almonds added there. There is a brand called Malk, which does add just oats and then water, and then for their almond milk, just almonds and water. I would be more inclined to use almond milk than oat milk because oats are pretty rich in phytic acid, and I worry that, hey, did they soak these oats before, producing this oat milk? Maybe not. Are they sprayed with pesticides? I don't know. So it's a little tough to find, but traditionally, why I say don't use oat milk, don't use almond milk, when you grab one of those things, like the most popular brands, there are seed oils in there is sugar, there are sometimes food dyes in there are preservatives. It's not just oats and water, almonds and water, so I'm not against them if it's actually just, oat milk or almond milk, and if you make it at your own house, that's cool. But if you're buying a main brand, bad idea. Last one, and we'll end on this one. This guy said, Brendan, these Q&As have changed my life. They're the highlight of my day. I appreciate that so much. I will keep doing them. We'll keep diving into questions, and I'm doing these other episodes now, which you'll see on my YouTube channel, which are deep dives into different topics. So we did salt, we're gonna do protein and creatine powder next, and I hope these give you a lot of info on just how to take care of your body, how to take care of your mind, your body, your spirit, all that. So I appreciate you guys so much. And if you want to try out any of our formulas, just look up Santa Cruz Paleo on Amazon. Electrolytes should be back in stock by the time this drops. So get something. If you see something you like, get it, because we do sell out a lot. And yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.